Good morning everybody, welcome back to the AJ Analysis channel, where after a week of scintillating Champions League football, United versus Lyon felt a little bit like the Europa League. Probably a game that will be remembered for Andre Onana's mistake, or mistakes, depending on how you look at it. But there was also, of course, a lot more going on than just that. There was some good stuff, and there was some really poor stuff at times as well. So let's take a look. So let's start off with the starting 11s. You can see Manchester United here, as always, in that same structure, the same formation. And to be honest, not really too many surprises with the starting 11. When it came to Lyon, there were a few more shocks, a few more tweaks to the team than what we were expecting. But as usual, again, it was the 4-2-3-1 shape that we had previously anticipated. Now to talk about the tactics and what actually happened on this football pitch. And we're going to start up this end with Lyon on the ball, trying to play the ball out from the back, because United started really poorly here for the first 30, 35, maybe even 40 minutes, but eventually grew into the game and got better, and that's why we improved. So Lyon have got the ball at the back here, and initially we know that United are in this sort of 3-4-3 or the 3-4-2-1 formation. However, there was more of a tweak in this game, because we saw players moving forward. Someone like Lenny Yoro actually shifted more to a left-back role. We would see Maguire come across, we would see Mazraoui come across, and Dalot would play a little bit deeper on this side of the pitch. And that is because Dorgu is coming high from left wing back to sort of try and connect with the opposition fullback. What we've then got here is Bruno moving across a little bit, Højlund moving across a little bit, and Garnacho moving across into this position here. So it's sort of now a 4-2-4 or a 4-4-2, but the problem was it was really passive. There was no intensity to the way that United were playing. It felt like there was a real hesitance, there was a real fear actually in the Manchester United press at times, and also real confusion in terms of where people were meant to be. And the problem that United had was because these two players in this deeper position here weren't confident squeezing really high to back up the press, it caused one of the United front two, often Bruno Fernandes, to sort of play a little bit deeper on this midfielder here. This meant, though, that Højlund is now trying to cover two players. Now, he tended to play more towards the left-hand side, so if the ball then came across this way, Garnacho, the poor fellow over here, is actually 1 versus 2 opposition players, and that's obviously going to be really difficult to deal with for Garnacho. Although, to give him some credit, I think he worked so hard defensively in this game. Was it an amazing performance from him? Perhaps not. But in terms of intensity, work rate, I think he was good. So I was pleased to see that side of his game, and I think that has been developing. But regardless of that, even when he is working hard, if you're 1 versus 2 for 30 minutes, you're going to get played around at times, and Lyon are going to sort of pop the ball around the back. The other problem that United had was when United were more 4-4-2, so let's say Højlund goes higher, Bruno Fernandes comes higher, United were now sort of outnumbered in this little area here, and there were sort of problems really occurring everywhere for United, and it was too easy for Lyon really to access the middle of the pitch and then play through, find the technical players and attack United, until it changed. Now, to discuss this change, we first of all need to reset United into this 3-4-3 formation, but from here we are then going to see changes. So once again, let's put the ball over here. Lyon are trying to play the ball out from the back. Now United are going to do something a little bit different. Players are going to be moving into different positions. It starts off with Mazraoui, because it was his job to follow the Lyon left winger. But when the Lyon left winger is often dropping into these positions, Mazraoui is now going to follow him and join Casemiro in this midfield position here. At the same time, we're going to see Lyon pushing this player forward here into this area. So Dalot is going to drop back. Now, United have a new back three, but it's now one of the wing backs playing in that system because Mazraoui is in midfield next to Casemiro. Now, because Mazraoui is here with Casemiro, that means that Ugarte can go a little bit higher. And what we're going to see is United in this 3-2, and then another line of 3 here across the middle of the pitch like this, and then the 2 up front. This was sort of the new pressing shape that United went into. Now, at the same time, Lyon are going to start dropping players deeper to try and play out from the back. So these players are going to move towards the ball. We're going to see players moving deeper. We're going to see these guys joining in. At times, Lyon, like this situation here, literally had no striker. And that was a good thing for them, because it meant that they could drop deep and overload these areas. You know, with so many people dropping deep, they could find a spare man. The problem was, though, even if they had the spare man, they found him, there was nothing to actually play to. There was nothing in front. And that is why, largely, United was sort of okay. Early on, the press was broken and it was a problem. Later on in the game, United pressed a little bit better, but also Lyon just built up really poorly. Now, the next thing we need to talk about is United on the ball, starting off with the goalkeeper, playing out from the back and hopefully moving the ball forward through the pitch. However, that didn't really happen, and I found it infuriating how United approached this game in possession, because the Lyon structure, to tell the truth, was pretty poor. It was a pretty poor pressing shape like we predicted, and United just couldn't play through the middle of it. So initially, Lyon are going to be in a sort of passive 4-2-4 like this and give United a bit of time to play out from the back. What's then eventually going to happen is one of these two players here is going to move a little bit higher to engage the ball, and now it's more of a 4-2-3-1 shape, as we can see in this position here. Now, we've got to remember how United play. So Maguire isn't actually going to be here on the ball. Instead, he's going to be higher in midfield, and once again, United are going to push players up. The really, really annoying thing in this position here was that Lyon would occasionally squeeze the front three forward to try and press like this, so United were 2 versus 1 here. United had 2 players here up against just one Lyon defender. You've got to show some courage on the ball to play through that, to exploit that. You can see it here. United have the option to play, but don't. Here, United have the option to play, but don't. Here, United have the option to play, but don't. Eventually, we did it in like the 84th minute, and we got all the way through to the final third and created a pretty good opportunity, because we were brave and playing through the first line. But most of the time, United didn't want to play in those areas. There was so much hesitance. I should just move the fullbacks a little bit deeper for this. But there was so much hesitance from United to actually move the ball into this space. We're 2 versus 1 there. You've got to go after it. And when we weren't 2 versus 1, we were instead, 2 versus 2. Okay, it's a little bit more difficult now. But now we're 2 versus 1 here. United had the spare man in the build-up phase. United should have been able to move the ball through the pitch. Why? Well, because Lyon consistently defended with their back 4 up against just 3 United players. So we were pinning them in these positions here, but then not possessing the ability to actually play through the press. And that is why I found this game so annoying, because I think United should have very easily actually exposed, exploited and overwhelmed, really, the Lyon defence. And we didn't. The only time we really progressed the ball well, I would say, was when we went into wider areas. Now, that was a little bit inconsistent, but at least it worked in moments, because what we would do is move the ball to one side like this with the wing back. Lyon are going to crowd over like so, crowd over into these positions. Then what we're going to see from United is the inside forward makes the run this way to take the room here, and then we're going to see the wing backs going into the midfield position. So this could now be Højlund will drop deeper, it might be Casemiro moving higher to get on the ball, and then we can work the ball to the far side. This was one of the only ways United really reliably or regularly progressed. Now, I did just tell a little bit of a lie there, because there was actually another way United could progress the ball, which I forgot about for a moment, and that was by being a bit more direct and looking to find the channels. We've spoken about the need for United to play runners, and we did that with Højlund, with Garnacho. Even Bruno will make runs past the ball. And what we were seeing was the wing backs moving up a little bit like this when United were more in a traditional back 3. Someone like Dorgu would move himself higher up the pitch, attach himself to this opposition fullback, but then actually make the run a little bit deeper. And of course, it's going to open up this space in behind. This was one channel we did see sort of regularly exploited by United. So it was often Maguire in the middle, but also Lenny Yoro could play the ball as well, looking for that pass into that channel for someone like Bruno Fernandes to run into. The real problem that United had was when they did move forward quickly, and again, the spaces were there, Lyon were poor defensively, United just lacked any quality. Bruno Fernandes, of course, provides the moments, as always, with the cross for Xerxes for the goal. But just generally speaking, when United are moving forward into the final third, you've got Højlund with loose touches, not really battling the centre-backs very well. You've got Garnacho's really poor decision-making and technical details on the pass. So, tactically in moments, Ruben Amorim did sort of overload what was quite a poor Lyon approach. So Amorim did well in that aspect. The problem was then the actual players on the pitch didn't execute in those moments. They didn't execute. This one in particular is so annoying, because you've got yourself into a great position in the big moments. You have to make it count. You have to make it count. However, having said all of that, another day United maybe win 2-0, because the first goal shouldn't happen. I think Onana can be protected better on the set piece with better positioning, but he does terribly. He's got to stop that ball going into the net. The second one, I don't think is a howler. I think it's a difficult one. I think the best keepers in the world probably deal with it better and smother it a bit more, but Onana's not one of the best saving goalkeepers in the world. I think the United defenders could have done a lot more to help him, to be more reactive. If you look, the Lyon players get there way before United do. United kind of stood there like, oh, you need a bit more from that from your centre-backs to sort of help your keeper out. So I think it's harsh to blame him too much for the second one. But I think Amorim will be fuming. Don't get me wrong, his tactics were not perfect in this game. Again, that whole setup with Maguire moving into midfield next to Casemiro and Ugarte, that's not what you need to progress the ball. Something needs to change there. But you could argue we should have won this game 2-0 and we should be heading back to Old Trafford with a healthy lead. Instead, it's 2-2. But to be honest, having watched that game, I'm even now more confident than I was previously, and I was already confident about this tie. I still think United will go through because I don't think this Lyon team is set up very well. United technically just need to execute next Thursday. Will they? I don't know. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But in terms of for today, a poor game that doesn't deserve, truthfully, too much coverage because tactically it was sort of what we expected. And yeah, there was a lack of execution on the football pitch. So that is all we are going to do for today. Thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed it. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.